This is The Point. 95.9 FM and 1470 AM.
It's time for Success in Real Estate with Frankie Griffin, owner and broker in charge of the Palmetto Success Team, certified residential specialist, accredited buyer representative, military relocation professional, real estate appraiser, and author of Success in Real Estate. If you are interested in buying or selling a home, investing in real estate, or having your home appraised, you will enjoy Success in Real Estate. Now, here's Frankie Griffin.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Success in Real Estate. I'm Chuck Norris and hope everyone is having a very fine day today. Oh, I'm sorry, Frankie Griffin. I forgot totally who this is. No worries, we got it straight. Everything's okay in studio, but we are here to help you. If you have any questions, any thoughts, any concerns, anything real estate related, love to help you out any way we can. You can certainly give me a call here in studio. The number is 799-8255. Again, 799-8255. And love to answer any questions you have, because if you're thinking about buying or selling, the key is to make a very informed decision. And you really, it's just not a good idea, especially if you're buying, to just jump out there and just start looking to see if, what house we want. There are some things, there's some planning that needs to go into this to make sure that you're set up for success. And that's what we like to do with the Palmetto Success Team. We just want to make sure you have all the information you need to make an informed decision so that you get the best deal, because making money in real estate, in the buying and selling real estate, you make your money when you buy. It's not when you sell. If you don't buy right, you're going to have a hard time selling and getting out of it, even to break even in a lot of cases. And we may even talk about some of that, because I've had some things come up over the last week, since the last time we met, where we've got, in fact, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I was doing an appraisal on a house, gorgeous home, beautiful home. It's about 3,200 square feet, somewhere in that neighborhood, and asked me to come out and appraise it because they were looking at or considering putting their house on the market and selling it. And once we had it appraised and I told them the value, they actually came back a little bit concerned, meaning they weren't very thrilled with the appraisal, or at least the value. In the comment, they told me, but Frankie, we paid that. That's about what we have in the house. And we've been here for 10 years. Now, this house, they bought it brand new. It was new construction. And just some things you got to kind of need to consider when you're buying a house. But two things real quick, and then I want to move on to what I really wanted to get into. But two things. One, they bought that house back in 2005. And for those of you that remember, you know, 2004, 05, 06, 07 a little bit, yeah, that was the peak real estate market. Prices were going through the roof with real estate. And in fact, anybody in real estate during that time, life was good. I mean, real estate was just, it was amazing during that time. Everybody was buying. But then what happened in 08, 09, 10? We had the real estate crash, and when everything crashed, a lot of people, in fact, most everybody lost at least some value, and it wasn't unusual for some to lose as much as 50% of their value. I mean, it just went down. And now we're back on the upswing again. Values are starting to come up. And what I was trying to explain to them, you bought it at the peak of real estate. And they had lost a lot of value and didn't know this, didn't realize how much value they had lost. But now they're back to basically the break-even point. And that's sort of the cycle we're in. So that was one of the things that hurt them. Now, there was absolutely nothing they can do about it. Obviously, back in 2005, you can't predict what the future holds, and market's going to go the way it did, but it did. But the other thing that you can control that also hurt them a little bit. When they were having the house built, they decided not to go with the builder grade on pretty much anything. They had everything upgraded. Very, very nice home. I mean, it's a gorgeous home. The problem they've got is everybody around them, when they had their house built, they went with the builder grade. It's not as expensive. It's not as nice. And so basically those other houses around them are bringing their values down because they're like the big house on the block here. And when you have the better, nicer amenities than everybody else, then you actually suffer a little bit from what we call the principle of regression, and that can hurt your value too. So you never want to outbuild the neighborhood. In fact, one of the questions, in fact, I brought in a list of email questions I was going to go over today to try to answer some of these, because I've been getting a lot of email questions. In fact, if it's something you'd be interested in, you want to shoot me an email, I'd be glad to help you any way I can. My email address is just frankie@frankiegriffin.com. Thinking about changing that to frankie@chucknorris.com. But right now, it's still at frankie@frankiegriffin.com. Just shoot me an email. I'll certainly reply back as soon as I can to help you any way I can. But one of the emails is dealing a little bit with what we were just talking about. So, number one, you do not want to outbuild the neighborhood. Even that includes when you are initially building a house, new construction. You don't want to be the big guy on the block, not in this case, because it will come back and haunt you. All right. The other thing I would like to touch on just real quick, I actually was looking at an article last night that I thought was very interesting. I think it's very good news for anybody involved in real estate or going to be involved in real estate. But it says here, construction spending climbed in the month of May to the highest level since October of 2008. And if you remember that, in the 05, 6, 7, even in 8, that's when real estate was peaking, when it was home values were going through the roof. We were building like crazy. And then things went down. Well, now we're back up to that point, in same level as October of 2008, which is really good. And now here's something I thought was very interesting. It says there were solid monthly and year-over-year gains in May for all major construction categories, including private, non-residential, residential, and public, said Ken Simpson, with the association's chief economist. But here's what really gets me. The private segments appeared poised to maintain growth throughout the year, but contractors increasingly report difficulty in finding any workers to construct large and complex projects. So we've been hearing all this time, there's just no jobs out there, and now I'm hearing we can't find anybody willing to work and build these projects, these construction sites. All right, we're out of time for the first segment. Love to hear from you. Give us a call, 799-8255. You're listening to Success in Real Estate.
Columbia's local talk radio experience. This is The Point. 95.9 FM and 1470 AM.
And now, the Mortgage Update with Erica Hill West on Success in Real Estate.
All right, welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin. It is time for our mortgage update with Erica Hill West, our mortgage go-to gal, with us on the phone. How you doing, Miss Erica?
Well, I'm doing great. Today is a great day.
Really?
It is.
I love to hear that. Why is it so great?
I mean, besides we have, some great things going on with the Capitol, the flies going down, it's beautiful weather. It's just a great day.
You mentioned the flag going down, at 10 o'clock when it's going down. Of course, that's going to be covered live here on The Point. So those that can't go down and listen, you can certainly tune in.
Can't get down. There's a lot of
Really?
a lot of roads that are closed.
Yeah, unless you're standing on top of the AT&T building, you ain't going to see nothing anyway.
That's right.
But you can listen to it live here on The Point. Kevin Cohen's going to be back in studio and see how that goes. So make sure you tune back in if you want to listen to the event, what's going on. But, hey, it has been so busy, Eric, and I know you've been busy. It's insane.
Super, super busy.
Man, a lot of people buying houses, a lot of people obviously selling houses, so it's really good. And I know you get sick of this question, so let me get it out the way now. What are the interest rates doing?
We're seeing a little bit of movement. They're holding steady, but I mean, we're seeing teeny tiny increments down for a day, and the next day they'll go back up to where they were 2 days ago. So they're still low. I mean, for anybody that's wondering, anywhere from 3.75 to 4.5 if you're doing an investment property. So they're wonderful. It's a wonderful time to buy. If anybody's thinking about buying, I would suggest you definitely do it before October, when all those changes are now going into effect. Kind of make a decision and pull the plug.
I think they're going to push it to January by the time we get to October. Might as well.
Yep.
Just to keep people off balance a little bit. But
hold on, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing you. There's a lot of noise around me. I'm sorry.
Are you with the baby?
No, I'm not with the baby.
Oh, well, then you got to listen up. But
no.
Hey, you know, with all these changes going on, that's going to affect that's going to affect the closing process substantially, which is why it's so important to have somebody that knows what's going on and can kind of ramrod the process. Because I mean, I don't feel like I've got my head around all these changes yet, but at the same time, I'm really not all that worried about it because I know you do.
That is true. That has been the most important thing that I've been trying to communicate to people is, you know, for real estate agents, it's good to be educated that these changes are coming, but really you need to partner up with attorneys and with lenders that are preparing themselves so that they can make this transition for real estate agents and their clients as seamless as possible.
Absolutely. Well, and I got to, for those of you that are listening, if you're thinking about borrowing money or needing a loan to buy a house or refinance or get whatever, I cannot tell you how important it is to have somebody here local with the underwriting local. I'm not talking about just the loan officer. I know we got a lot of loan officers, but they have little to no control over anything after the application point, it seems like.
That's true.
So, and I kind of like the part a lot that certainly when possible, you go to closing with us.
Yes.
What a huge relief just to see Erica sitting over there. Then that way I know when Andy on says, well, we got a problem, or if he does, which is rare. But if he does, then I know you're sitting there and everything's good.
That's right.
Don't even worry about it. That is awesome.
I appreciate it.
Well, is there anything fascinating or something we need to talk about that I'm not aware of in finance?
Yep. Most of all the news that we're getting is really just with these changes. You know, if people weren't listening a couple of weeks ago when I was on, they're changing some of our loan documents. They're consolidating them, and they're changing the HUD settlement statement is now going to be called a closing disclosure. And it's really, really just trying to simplify some of these documents for consumers so that they understand what information they need to be looking at for their loan.
Okay.
So the closing disclosure, most importantly, is going to show how it comes up with cash to close, which I think that's a good piece of information to include.
Sure. Absolutely.
We're also, for everybody that's listening, effective for loans started after October 1st, you're going to have to be clear to close with a closing disclosure to the buyer at least 3 days prior to closing, or we're going to have to move closing. So,
yeah, these are going to be some big changes for sure.
That's really what I think is really going to affect people the most is us as lenders and even as real estate agents and attorneys, we're not going to be able to get title work back, the day before closing, or get building negotiating repairs that affect our seller concessions the day before closing. it's just going to be a little bit of a learning curve for all of us that we're going to have to really plan on, at least 60-day closings for the first 3 or 4 months that we're trying to get accustomed to these changes. So that's why I say if anybody's on the fence and they're thinking about purchasing, the next 3 months is a good time to do it. So you kind of get ahead of these new changes that could affect your closing date.
Well, Miss Erica, I can't thank you enough, and I know how incredibly busy you are, but real quick, how can we get in touch with you?
You can reach me at my cell phone number. That number is 803-528-5019. You can email me at ewest@mortgagenetwork.com, or you can find me on Facebook. Just search for the Mortgage Go-To Gal.
There you go. Well, Miss Erica, I hope you have a mighty fine day today.
You too, Frankie, and call me if you need anything.
You know I will. Thank you, sweetie.
Thanks, Frankie.
Take care. All right, that's Erica West, our Mortgage Go-To Gal, and do check out her Facebook page. Just go to Mortgage Go-To Gal. Got a lot of information she puts out there. She keeps us well posted on what's going on in finance. And obviously, if you need to contact her, you can certainly get her information there on her Facebook page. Or, as always, go to my website, frankiegriffin.com. Again, just frankiegriffin.com. You'll find a link there, Real Estate Partners. Click on that, and there you'll find all our partners, to include Erica Hill West with Mortgage Network. All her contact information is there. In fact, any of those partners on that list, these are guys and gals that I've been using personally for a long time, and obviously they have not let me down yet. That's why they're still on that page. They do a great job. At least do yourself a favor, call them, and let them give you an estimate of whatever service they're providing. I think you'll be very, very pleased with that. All right. Well, again, if you have any questions or comments, love to help you out any way I can. The number to call is 799-8255. Again, 799-8255. And I don't know, do we have much time left in this segment, Brian? Well, okay, we got about a minute. But so let me just sort of tell you what we're going to be doing on the other side. I brought several email questions from some of you listeners, and I'm going to go through these and try to answer as many of them as I can. Picked out some of what I think are very good questions and common questions, and maybe how we can deal with these. And love to invite you, if you have any questions, and certainly you can call us during the show, 798. Let me try that one more time. 799-8255. Again, 799-8255. Or you can just email the question if you don't want to talk on the radio to just frankie@frankiegriffin.com. Frankie. Frankie@frankiegriffin.com. And then I'll do my very best to try to make sure all the questions are answered. But again, we're going to go take a quick break. We'll be right back. Give us a call, 799-8255. 799-8255. You're listening to Success in Real Estate on
MakeThePointRadio.com.
Good morning again. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin / Chuck Norris. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're having a great time going over all kind of stuff. But right now, we have America's favorite attorney, Andy On, is on the line with us. How you doing, Mr. Andy?
Ninja lawyer. Ninja lawyer, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
How you doing?
Oh, this is a fine day today.
Sure is, boy. We've had some beautiful weather. It got a little warm here toward the end of the week, but I'm telling you, it's been beautiful weather, hasn't it, Frankie?
I heard it's going to be like 110 today.
Golly, I'm telling you.
Good
night.
night.
It's a miss.
Yep, I'm
well,
staying.
I want to thank you so much for letting me come to your class. Yes, the other day, I think it was yesterday.
Yesterday, and I can't tell you the comments. They're still talking about you.
I tell you, we had a great class, and they're very engaging and just a lot of good insight. There, that's going to be a Star Spangled class for you.
Sure,
good folks in there. Frankie, we've got a lunch and learn coming up next Thursday. Okay, We're actually hosting this at a listing that Kinsley Mickle, you know Kinsley.
Oh yeah.
With Keller Williams. It's one of his listings out of Northeast Columbia. I don't have the information in front of me because I'm on the road. I had a meeting this morning, but I did want to let your listeners know that there's going to be a lunch and learn next Thursday. It'll be start up around 11:30. We'll get folks registered and all that stuff between 11:30 and 12. Let them get a little something to eat, and then we'll start the presentation around 12. It's going to be on the new TRID closing disclosure statement and on all the issues relating to these new regulatory changes that are going into effect. Again, I think we're all really trying to get our hands around these changes that are coming down. Anytime there's a change, it seems like we always get concerned, and I got to remember somebody told me. In fact, I said this to you clients yesterday, because change is constant. We must constantly change, right? And this is an industry that constantly changes, and if you don't have the ability to change with it and to upgrade where needed and do what you need to do to improvise and move on, you're just going to be, you're going to be left in the back of the class. So, I'm hoping that we'll have a good turnout at this. I really believe that, while the impact on real estate agents is going to be less than it will be on lawyers, lenders, and other vendors, it is definitely going to have an impact on real estate agents. And if you aren't acquainted and familiar with what these changes are going to be, you're setting yourself up for failure. So we'd love to buy you lunch, love to have you join us, next Thursday. A great listing by Kinsley Mickle with Keller Williams Real Estate. He's a tremendous. I love Kinsley.
He's the man.
I can't help it. Every time I see Kinsley, I just start smiling. He's just one of those kind of guys, kind of like you. I'm glad to see you. You brighten my day. But I'm really excited about the turnout we've already got. Some of the RSVPs we've already got. So please call our office. The number is 744-0824. And let Aaron know that you'll be joining us, and we would love to have any of your listeners, either real estate professionals or just individuals who might be entering the market and want to understand what's been going on in the industry. So we
want some free lunch.
Absolutely. We'd love for them to join us.
And I got to tell you, too, just for agents that may not have sat through any of these seminars you've been doing, it is going to it'll impact real estate, and certainly in this way, real estate agents, that is, in this way that there's a lot of provisions in the contract right now that we actually sort of touched on in the continuing ed class you were helping me with a week or so ago, that we're going to have to change some of those things, like the termite inspection, CL 100 letters, and how long they are, or how. Yeah. I mean, there's some things that you got to be aware of when all this stuff goes into play.
Yeah, one of the biggest areas of impact, as I understand, for real estate agents is going to be the time for closing. Most of us operate under a 30 to 45 day time frame from contract to closing, and now we're probably looking at more of a 45 to 60 day time frame. And so, provisions. One of the things we're talking about now more than ever is provisions relating to inspections, due diligence, and particularly re-inspections, and the importance now of re-inspections of properties. That's one of the things we're going to talk about, and I'm thinking that what we're going to do is we're going to kind of focus on due diligence in some of our upcoming seminars and how it relates to these changes, because I think a lot of agents don't put a whole lot of emphasis on re-inspection of the property by the home inspector. But if you're looking at 45 to 60 days out, you almost have to have that property re-inspected to make sure that the repairs that needed to be made were made, and that there are no other issues that you need to address.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're excited about it. I appreciate everything, Frankie, and I hope you have a fine day.
Oh, it's going to be a fine day. Thanks, Andy.
All right, my friend. Thanks, brother. Bye-bye.
Andy Owen with Owen and McKay Law Firm does an awful lot of real estate transactions, obviously, but he's much more than that. He's also a trial lawyer. So if you have any kind of issue, legal issues, give Andy a call. I tell you, if I have to be in the courtroom, I would certainly want him to be sitting at the table with me. That's for sure. But hopefully, we'll never have to do that. But again, you can always get his information off our website, frankiegriffin.com. Go to Real Estate Partners, and you'll find him right there. If there's anything that he can provide you in the way of legal services. All right, so let me try to get to at least some of these emails. And what kind of time are we looking at in this segment, Brian? Okay, yeah, I got plenty of time to do one or two anyway. All right, well, here's the first email I've got is from Tina. And Tina says, I signed a listing agreement, but I'm having second thoughts about selling. How do I cancel, and will it cost me anything? All right, well, you signed a listing agreement. You agreed to put your house on the market to sell, obviously with an agent. But it's pretty easy, Tina. The reality is if you decide not to sell your house, nobody can make you sell your house. Just tell the agent you've changed your mind and you want to take your house back off the market. Should not be any cost to you to do that. You should be able to just terminate the contract for that reason. Now, typically there are provisions in there that say that if you decide to, say a month from now, that you do want to sell it, then you may very well have to go back to that agent to give them the opportunity. But it's really important to know what you've agreed to. What's in that listing agreement. But in terms of just getting out of the sale or out of the listing agreement because you don't want to sell, that's not going to be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem at all. And in any agent that's any good, they'll certainly grant that wish, and I would think, and just let you out of it. You shouldn't have any problems at all.
Columbia's local talk radio experience. This is The Point, 95.9 FM and 1470 AM.
Watch me! Watch me! I got it! Watch me!
Watch me.
I got it!
All right. Good morning. Good morning again. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. Again, I'm Frankie Griffin, real estate broker in charge and appraiser. Thank you for joining us today. We got our last segment, and I'm going to answer some of these emails. But real quick, I do want to remind you, coming up at 10 o'clock, top of the hour, Kevin Cohen will be back in studio covering the flag ceremony live. So if you can't make it down to actually watch it, and you're interested in history and you want to see and hear what's going on, make sure you stay right here. 10 o'clock, Kevin Cohen will be right back here covering the entire event live, so don't miss that. So let's go straight back to a couple of these emails. And here's one from Mary. Very interesting email. In fact, I don't know that I've ever had anybody ask me anything quite like this, but it's a good one. Where can I find a real estate agent code of ethics, and is there any such thing? Great question, Mary. The code of ethics, there is such a thing, but it only applies to realtors. There is a big difference between real estate agents and realtors. Not every real estate agent is a realtor. That's something they will have to elect to be. And real quick, to be a realtor, then you have to be a member of the National Association of Realtors. That is an optional thing that agents choose or choose not to do. But those that choose to be a member of the association and become a realtor, we are, and I am a realtor, but we are accountable to a national code of ethics. And it's a pretty stringent code. And it's a very good code. And if someone has a complaint, an ethics complaint, again, we're not talking about a legal complaint, but an ethics complaint, then anybody can file an ethics complaint against a realtor. Now, if that agent is not a realtor, won't do you a whole lot of good. But It will if you are a realtor, and all you have to do is contact your local association of realtors. I say local because you have the National Association, you have a state association, and then you have local boards throughout the state. And you contact that local board and let them know you've got a grievance or a complaint, ethics complaint, and they can certainly walk you through the process. But really good question, Mary. Appreciate you sending that in. All right. Let's see. The next question I got is from Alyssa. Alyssa asked, if the real estate agent representing the buyer knows of a flooding problem, must they disclose this information to the buyer? And is it unethical if they do not? The answer is yes and yes. In fact, not only does the buyer's agent have to disclose it to their buyer, the listing agent has to disclose it too. That's a material fact. That's a significant issue if you know there's flooding, and flooding obviously has to be disclosed, and it has to be a written disclosure where both or the buyer must sign acknowledging that they've been told about the flooding issues, whatever those are. But another good question, you certainly have to disclose. And let me just say this too. For agents that may be listening, and I know we do get a lot of agents listening, this is, and not just flooding, but any kind of defect or material fact like this obviously is required by law to be disclosed. And one of the things you got to be very careful of, agents, is because I know there's a huge temptation to try to, at least have the mindset, what I don't know can't hurt me. If I don't know it, I can't disclose it. So don't tell me nothing. I don't want to know nothing. Well, that's not a good attitude. In fact, agents should be taking the exact opposite course. You need to, if there's a potential issue, then you got to start asking some questions. You got to uncover it, dig it out, make sure you know what's going on and what's not going on. Because if the agent were to get sued for failure to disclose an issue like this, then the person suing does not have to prove what the agent knew. All they have to prove is what the agent should have known. And that's a big difference right there. So you can sit on that stand and say all day long you didn't know something, but if they can show that had you done your job, had you asked the right questions, had you paid attention to the red flags, that kind of stuff, then you should have known, and now you could potentially have some problems. So, Lisa, appreciate that question. Very good. Got another, in fact, this one's kind of lengthy. Hopefully, we got a couple minutes left. All right, let me see. I think we can get this, but this is from Tommy. He said he listed his house with an agent with the understanding that if one of two friends buys the property, she would be compensated at 3% commission. One of my friends has made an offer. When my agent sent me the estimated payout for the transaction, she put in her commission at 6%. Her explanation is that the original deal was only good until she listed the house in the MLS. Is this as ethical or legal? Well, it doesn't sound good, Tommy, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, again, it's going to depend. What did you agree to in the listing agreement? Now, if you had this discussion with her, then all agreements, all that should have been included in your listing agreement. When I say include, you got to write it in there. Otherwise, if there's no written agreement to that effect, then, Tommy, you could have a problem there. It's certainly unethical if that is the case, and this agent is persistent and wants her full commission. I hate that, but hopefully this agent will decide to do the right thing if that's something that y'all actually agreed upon. But it's just so important, not for just this, but anytime if you're selling your house and you have any kind of an agreement with your agent, make sure that is written into the listing agreement. the verbal oral agreement stuff can get you into a lot of trouble. Obviously, it's hard to prove what was agreed upon if it was not in writing. Obviously, I'm not an attorney. That might be an Andy on question, so you can certainly talk to Andy about what's going on there. Tommy, I hate to hear stuff like that, but sometimes it happens. All right, getting ready for the flag ceremony. Y'all stay put. You've been listening to Success in Real Estate on The Point.